So I am going to show you the picture of 이차돈's martyrdom. So can anybody volunteer to give us the summary of the story that you've just read over here? Anybody?
I can.
Yes, who's this?
This is Chris.
Chris, okay, so can you explain the story based on this painting?
So at the time in Silla, Buddhism was present, but it wasn't the state's, like, it wasn't a state-sanctioned religion. And the king at the time had a minister who was a Buddhist monk, and he tried to convince the king to make Buddhism the state-sanctioned religion, but his other ministers opposed that because they didn't want to change from the traditional shamanism. And so they, Ichidan and the king, created a plot to make Ichidan a martyr for Buddhism, and during his public execution, apparently his blood, instead of being red, was white like milk, and they made it. And that kind of persuaded the ministers to accept Buddhism as the official religion.
Right. I want to correct one thing. Ichadong was not a Buddhist monk. He was an avid Buddhist
Okay.
follower, right? But he so in a way, king wanted to Buddhism to be official religion, right? Like, do you all agree that Ichadong and King Bapung are on the same side, right? But
Right.
simply the other ministers were very reluctant, and they are usually from that sacred bone or true bone class, and they wanted to maintain their existing status. Do you know this word called status quo? Like your own status. You are the U.S. citizen. You don't want to change that. Or you are from the aristocratic family. You don't want to change that. So a lot of sacred bone and true bone people, their divine lineage come from that shamanist past. So they don't want to change it. But there is a new religion called Buddhism, and somehow king saw advantage in practicing Buddhism, or making it as official religion. So King Popeng and a small group of his allies wanted to create a whole event, or like a turmoil, and then the legend. I mean, you all believe that this is a legend. You don't really think that somebody had white blood. So it's a legend. Samguk Yusa, the reason this history book is called the Stories of Three Kingdoms is a lot of stories are religious legends and myth mixed together with a historical fact. Samguk Sagi, like official history, is all about the official events, like a warfare that took place, or the year the king passed away, those kind of official records. But Samguk Yusa is more like anecdotes or stories from Three Kingdoms. So that was the idea. So definitely there are some symbols and metaphors included, but what you are seeing as a summary is the government, the state wanted Buddhism. So this is a further slide. So this is another version of the story, and the same story is retold many times. Unified Silla dynasty is even more devoted to Buddhism. So we will repeat some of these ideas. So Silla once they decided to make the Buddhism as a state-sponsored religion, like a 527. It takes off really fast. So one evidence that Buddhism was very well implemented in Silla as official religion is the construction of this temple called Hwangryongsa. I want you to remember the name, Hwangryongsa. So what does that mean? It means golden dragon, temple of golden dragon. So again, according to the Samguk Yusa, the stories of the kingdoms, King, Bapeng had a dream, so that they want to build a Buddhist temple on the site of Ichadon's sacrifice. So royal palace is somewhere here, then not very far from the palace, they are going to build this amazing temple. And this temple doesn't exist anymore. That's why I'm showing you the graphic simulations. So originally, they were planning to have this, how many stories are there? A lot of stories, right? 9-story pagoda. And that is 224 feet tall. It's really tall. At some point, it was the tallest pagoda in entire East Asia. So they wanted to create this pagoda. And so it started 553, and then it was completed 644. So it took about 100 years. What did you want to say? I will go back to the chatting.
I can read it for you. Abigail asked, what does a pagoda symbolize?
Oh, so pagoda is a monument that contains a little bit of Shakyamuni's ashes. So it's a memorial for the historical Buddha Shakyamuni. Is it clear, Abigail? I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the monument. So usually in Buddhist temple, you enter through the central gate, then you have the pagoda. And pagoda is not the building to go in. Usually it's a tower. So you venerate it from outside and you circumvent, you walk it around it. But you don't go in and sit down. It's not the kind of congregational hall. No, it's not. And then right behind it, in the single axis plan, this building is called main hall, where you are going to see the large statue of Buddha. And then right behind it here, that is a lecture hall. So people are going to sit down here together, and then they will read Buddhist scriptures or they will discuss important matters. So that's the structure. You have inner gate, and then you have a pagoda, and you have a main hall, and then you have a lecture hall, everything on the single axis. So this is today's that temple of Golden Dragon or Hwangyongsa temple, and you only have the foundation stone remaining, but you don't have any building. So here, 삼국유사, I want you to remember this title for a long time. So that's the main historical record. And they are like legends and history of 3 kingdoms. And the book itself was written by a Buddhist monk. We will discuss this again in Silla dynasty. And it has a lot of folk tales and legend. So that's why 삼국사기 that you see over here, that is more official history. And 삼국유사, you read it as a supplement to 삼국사기. And because Ilyan himself was a Buddhist monk, obviously his historical writing is biased toward Buddhism. So everything is explained in the glory of Buddha. And you see a lot of foundation legend of these temples. So who wants to read the foundation legend? Catherine? Can you read this
really
for
not
us?
good with pronouncing things.
Oh, that's okay. I can help you out.
I would prefer not to.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Sorry, I'm just really bad at pronouncing all those
no,
words.
that's okay. Then what about Eunjung? Can you read this for us?
The whole thing?
Yeah, here where I have arrow, the giant.
Oh, the giant golden Buddha statue was cast in the reign of King Kyunghee as a temple centerpiece. Go on.
Yeah, go on.
The legend states that the gold for the statue came from King Ashoka of India. Ashoka had apparently attempted to cast the golden triad but failed. He then put the gold in a boat along with scale models of
Bodhisattvas.
Each country that received the boat was equally unable to cast the statues, and not until the boat had arrived in Silla could a statue be cast.
Thank you.